Labor Day in the land of Lincoln, an American holiday in the heartland of the country. But the final round leaderboard of this year's rail has a strong international flavor. England's Karen Stupples, a sleeper coming into the tournament. Rookie of the Year frontrunner, Hyun Kim of South Korea. Colombian Marissa Baena is only 2 strokes back. Leading the American charge, Tina Barrett, 2 shots off the pace as well. And at the top, the one they are all chasing, Scotland's Janice Moody. At 12 under, she's looking for her first LPGA victory. It's the final round of the State Farm Rail Classic. ESPN. And the LPGA Tour bring you final round coverage of the State Farm Rail Classic. We welcome you once again to the state capital of Springfield, Illinois. We couldn't have asked for a better situation. Extremely tight atop the leaderboard. And the weather, well, it's more Hawaii-like than what you'd expect in the heart of the country on Labor Day weekend. It's been a difficult proposition for the 36-hole leader, Janice Moody, over the first 9 holes of the day. Final group of the day, Mary O'Brien of Moody, Baena, and Kim on the green at 11, the par 3.
And this is the leaderboard you saw after the second round. This is a 3-day tournament. And right now, Moody in the background getting ready to putt for her birdie at 11, 187 par 3, as you said, Joel. Tough hole location today, a lot of break in this green. And now's the time to start making her move. This would put her at 13 under par.
Great pace on the roll for Janice Moody.
Young player out of Scotland, graduated from San Jose State University. Very determined young player, finished second in the Australian Masters earlier this year, her best finish on the LPGA Tour.
Alice Ritzman following that last threesome of the day.
And Janice is just finishing up her par.
Alice right now, Kim in the picture, and she is sort of in control of her game, isn't she, this young Korean?
She really is, Mary, and actually of the 3 players, she's been by far the steadiest today. She's hit most of the fairways, most of the greens, looking real good.
She started the day 2 shots off the lead, just like Marissa Baena, looking for her first career championship.
Big tournament for her because of the fact she's leaving today to go home to Korea. She qualified for the World Championship for next week, but is not going to participate, is going to hold her commitment to a tournament she agreed to play in Korea. And it will be a big homecoming for her, even if she doesn't win today, because she is the outstanding Korean player this year on the LPGA Tour. And looks like she could end up being Rookie of the Year. This to move to 14 under.
And this from just under 30 feet.
So a tap-in par for the diminutive one, as she will stay at 13 under.
And you look at this group, Joe, all 3 players, none of them have won a tournament, all of them good young players. The third, Marissa Baena, who graduated from the University of Arizona, from Columbia. It's like the all-world group, actually. You've got Kim from Korea, Moody from Scotland, and Baena from Columbia, South America.
And Marissa came up short in the bunker off the tee and came up short with her second shot. So she has this 20-footer for par.
double bogeyed the 8th hole, which is a par 5, dropped to 8 under par. And as we say, somewhat of a learning experience, Alice.
Yes, it is. A painful one, possibly, but
You can learn from that in a hurry, can't you?
Check her ID. She looks too young to be out here.
And Joel, she has a sister who's playing at the University of Arizona. They tell me is just as good, maybe a better player.
Well, as we mentioned, we're at the Rail Golf Course, final round of the State Farm Rail Classic, and this is the way it stands right now. Hyun Kim with a one-shot lead over Janice Moody. Pearl's Hin had been at 11 under par. We understand now she's picked up a bogey to go to -10, a bogey at 14 for the defending champion. And it is not simply comfortable out here. It is absolutely perfect. Hard to believe it's Labor Day weekend in the Midwest. As I mentioned, it feels like trade winds are out there. Winds have kicked up, so the club selection should be very interesting on this Trent Jones course that opened 30 years ago. Bluegrass, ryegrass out on the course, bent grass greens, and it is going to be a very close affair all the way through this 54-hole event. Hi, everybody. Joel Myers, along with Mary Bryan, and welcome to our final round coverage of the State Farm Rail Classic. Well, Mary, you ask any of the players, and they'll tell you that the first one is always the toughest, and Michelle McGann is the perfect example of that. Michelle McGann had been on tour for 6 years, finally broke through into the winner's circle in her 7th season, and then they came in bunches. She won 7 times over the next 3 years.
Well, it's a perfect golf course, really, for a player who has not won, because every hole is pretty much a birdie hole. But you look at the two at the top of the leaderboard, Janice Moody from Scotland. She's played some on the European Tour, went to the university, or excuse me, San Jose State University, really learned to play most of her competitive golf in the United States, trying to gain her first victory. And then there's Kim from Korea. But the one advantage Kim has, Joel, is she has won 6 times in her home country of Korea. So she knows what winning is all about. But to win on the LPGA Tour, that's the pinnacle for her. And particularly, as I said, she's going home today. And what a victory march that could be for her.
Over the first 36 holes, it was about 90 degrees outside, the humidity also at about 90%. So the course has changed dramatically, and especially to the wind conditions.
A totally different golf course because, as you said, the wind is up, maybe gusting to 25 miles an hour. You're going to have to hit a lot of knockdown shots. But what's really happened is the greens would have been soft all week long are now getting very hard. And I looked over the hole location, some very, very tough pin placements coming in. And as you sit home and watch the golf today, there are 2 key holes. 15, the par 5 that's reachable, maybe some eagles because the hole location's in the front, and then 16, a very, very difficult hole location. You might see some double bogeys on that par 3, and it's the toughest hole on the golf course.
Over the next 2 hours, we're going to find out if for the 3rd consecutive years, we crown a first-time champion once again at the State Farm Rail Classic. It was Pearl's Hin last year. The year before, Cindy Fig Courier, the veteran, finally getting into the winner's circle as well. Will it be the young lady from Seoul, South Korea? Hyun Kim, we'll find out in Springfield. Thank you, Jack. And these are the last 3 pairings of the day. We'll be following Emily Klein, Jan Stevenson, Marnie McGuire came in with the 8 under 64, one of the big stories yesterday. Jan Stevenson continues her solid play, and Emily Klein, steady Eddie. Over $1.5 million in career earnings after only about 4 years now on tour. Karen Stupples, well, she didn't blow up yesterday. In fact, she was a 2 under par. We saw her problems off the first tee, which was the 10th, but she really recovered well. Tina Barrett also in with a 70 yesterday, and Barb Mucha, who's played so well in the past year at the State Farm Rail Classic. And our final group of the day, Alice Ritzman will be keeping up with that group. Janice Moody, Marissa Baena, Hyun Kim, as we just saw them leaving the green on the par 3 11th. And we head out to the live play now. Out on 13, I see Jan Stevenson there on the par 4 of 370 yards. Good position for Stevenson coming in.
Well, and as you can see, it's a downwind shot to an elevated green. The second shot, big ridge right in front of the hole location there. So it depends on how you want to hit your shot in there. Hit into that ridge, it won't jump forward. But then we move over to the 14th hole, and it's a par 4, 399 yards. And the 14th is played very difficult. In fact, the second toughest hole on the golf course. Kind of a straightaway hole, not a lot of definition in your tee shot. And as Alice Ritzman pointed out yesterday, the tee lines you up to the right rough. Then you have a 3-level green. So you have to have the hole in mind as you shoot to this hole location again that's in the front part of the green today. and certainly makes the hole a lot shorter. And then we go over to the 15th hole, Joel.
Par 5, 505 yards. And some of the players can definitely get there. As Diana said yesterday, I should be able to hit this par 5 in 2.
Well, but the beauty today is that the wind is in your face. And why do I say it's the beauty? Because you can control your second shot coming in. You see how long this green is? Well, it's 50 yards long, but it's just in the front part of the green that you want to pay attention to today. So to get on and to and have an eagle opportunity, you've got to land it short. And now we go to the 16th hole, the toughest hole on the golf course, maybe one of the best par 3s we play on the LPGA. It's over water all the way. Today it's playing 174. The whole location is in the back right on this kind of kidney-shaped green. And as we pan open, look how the water definitely comes into play. There's a ridge that goes across there. The green goes this direction. It's going to take the perfect shot to get close.
And we may see a lot of activity for that back green side bunker you just saw. 17, a par 4 of 335.
And 17, very much a birdie hole. In fact, a lot of players just take 3 wood off the tee. Used to be some big willow trees right in that location. They cut them down. It kind of opened up the hole. Some players taking driver, particularly at the wind a little bit at their back today. As you can see, the whole location very accessible to the players, just a wedge or a sand wedge in.
And the finishing hole, 376 yards. Mary, the par 4.
It's an uphill hole all the way, trees right, bunker left, pretty wide, generous fairway though, and the whole location today, back left on this 3-tier green, brings that front bunker into play. It's the usual Sunday hole location, which is just going to be to your right as we pan over. Good finishing hole, and now you have seen the back 9 of the Rail Golf Course.
So the finishing holes at the Rail in Springfield. And also with us down on the ground, we've already heard from her following that threesome with Janice Moody, Marissa Baena, and me, Hyun Kim, Alice Ritzman. Alice?
Thank you, Joel. I've been with that last group most of the morning, and as I said, Hyun Kim has been the steadiest so far. Something that we spoke about earlier, though, the wind is really going to be a factor on this back 9. 6 of the last 9 holes are going to be, at least one of the shots is going to be into a severe crosswind, either from left to right or right to left. That's the most difficult wind for all the players to negotiate, so it could come down to the last hole.
Janice Moody getting ready for his second, Alice, at the 12th.
Par 5 hole. Not really reachable by too many of the players in the field, and as you can see, a little left to right action, but she's got herself in position where she can make a swing. Her normal ball flight is a little left to right, puts a little cut on the ball.
Janice Moody made the turn at 1 over par on her round today. Picked up a bogey, or a birdie rather, right away on 10 to get back within a shot of Kim.
And now you're going to see Marissa Baena's golf swing, and this is just a terrific golf swing. Lots of club head speed, hits the ball high and carries it a long ways.
Al Baena obviously on the green in 2. You're right, Mary. All-American out of Arizona. Already a crowd favorite on the LPGA Tour in her first year.
And Joel, she has that Nancy Lopez kind of smile,
Yes.
just a wonderful smile, and we'll see a lot of it, I'm sure, this afternoon.
Baena currently 2 over, unfortunately for her on her round today, but still a great weekend. She started at 10 under par, currently at -8. We'll come back, pick up their play on the par 5, and there's Baena with an eagle opportunity about a little more than 20 feet above the pin. Stay with us for our final round coverage of the State Farm Rail Classic. Hyun Kim coming in and getting ready for her 3rd shot into the par 5 12th with a 1-shot lead over Scotland's Janice Moody. Both players looking for their first career championships, and now is Janice Moody going to be impacted by that tree? Alice Ritzman?
I think she's going to have to keep this a little to the left, so she's going to have a hard time hitting it at the pin. Probably try to keep it low. Well, actually, went right up over it.
Sit down.
That's a good example of what we talked about. The wind-swept greens now are getting very, very hard. The ground is really actually hard. Players even complained about how their feet feel after walking 18 holes. Now, moments ago, Kim with her 3rd shot at the 12th.
How about that for tempo, Mary?
Her rhythm is wonderful, whether it's a driver or putt. Oh, my gosh, look at this.
She almost juiced it right into the hole. So just about a foot left for a birdie for Hyun Kim to go to 14 under par. I think it's safe to say that Well, she went into the weekend about 250 points ahead of Kiko Fukushima for the Rookie of the Year honors on the LPGA Tour. With the way she's playing this weekend, even though she is headed home next week to Korea, I think that lead is in pretty good shape.
Well, and that would be the second year in a row that a Korean would be Rookie of the Year, as Se-Ri Pak was the Rookie last year, as we now go to Lori West.
A 43-year-old Mary who's never won on tour as well. Made a big move today at 10 under par.
And what a nice shot by Westy. I'll tell you, here's a gal that really didn't start playing golf till she was about 21. She was a triathlete at the University of Colorado, and we'll get back to that more. But she was quite an athlete and just kind of naturally fell into golf, as you're looking at Marissa Baena, and now an eagle opportunity.
Alice, she could get back into the hunt big time with one here.
Big time, Joel. This is from just inside 30 feet. It's got to go up and over a little bit of ridge and then down to the hole. I think it should break a little bit from her right to left.
50% of the time, she is stuck around for the weekend. Tie for 21st, her best so far, but she was the first to say that, you know, I wasn't all the way back from that shoulder injury that I had. It was a little nerve-ending injury. She said that all of a sudden now she's starting to hit it without problems. She took off 5 months. Can she get it close?
Come on in there. Come on.
That left for birdie.
And there's still a lot of birdie holes to go, so if she can just nudge this one in, make her birdie even with the double bogey on 8, she can end up in the top 3, which would be huge. She's trying to avoid going back to the qualifying school as we go to last year's champion, Pearl Sin, who is making a move today, Joel.
Coming off a bogey, unfortunately, because she did get to 11 under par, Mary, through 13. Picked up the bogey at 14. Currently 3 behind the leader, Kim. Soon to be 4 behind the leader, unless she can come up big here. Look at this.
Oh, what a
Hit
shot.
the pin.
Hit the pin, yes. Great shot by Pearl Sin. And I tell you, somebody that restructured their whole golf game after being the Collegiate Player of the Year at the university, or excuse me, Arizona State University, now back with Janice Moody.
And this from 24 feet down the hill. She's putting from that first cut, or the fringe. Shouldn't be a problem at all. But this putt should have a little speed on it.
It's funny, Alice, the way it came out of the fringe, it almost looked like it altered its direction right away.
And that's possible. That's one of the hazards, Joel.
Alice, as we look at this group of Moody and Baena and Kim, you know, you talk about the future of the LPGA. Well, the future is now, and these are the 3 young players you're going to hear a lot about for many years.
No kidding.
You got Moody at 26 years old. Kim is 22. Baena, barely 23. Great threesome out there in the final period of the day. Now birdie putt for Baena.
I remember Marissa Baena at the NCAA's hold a 7-iron from the fairway on the last hole to have the University of Arizona win, and also for her to win the individual championship. Nice birdie.
So a shot back for Baena, currently 1 over on her round today, 9 under on the tournament. It's going to be by far her best finish so far in her young career.
Joel, I mentioned the qualifying school. The top 90 on the LPGA are exempt, and that's where you want to be. If you get into the 125, you've got a chance to get in a lot of tournaments. She's at 135, so a big paycheck here would help. Now, Kim for birdie.
Like Baena, a never compromised in her hand. And you see so many of them on all the tours now. So the young ladies picking up the pace. Will that 19 under that Pat Bradley had back in 91 be in jeopardy before it's all over at this 54-hole tournament? It could be. Mi-Hyun Kim is at 14 under, currently with a 2-shot lead over Janice Moody. The Rookie of the Year on the LPGA Tour, Mi-Hyun Kim, up by 2 over Janice Moody. And a commanding 4-shot lead over the threesome of Sin West and Tina Barrett. We just saw Janice Moody barely miss a birdie at 12. With the tee at 13, the par 4 of 370 yards.
And it's a dogleg right, Joel. And Janice likes to move the ball from left to right. Actually, with that wind helping, she's going to have to watch out a little bit. I've seen her miss a couple of fairways to the right with that wind.
And Alice, that was a 3-wood that she chose, and it looks like it's moving to the right. Big bunker on the other side of that hill. She may be in that bunker, which will make it a tough shot to the green. We'll know when Alice gets up there.
While we are away during break, Kim on the same tee.
And Kim using her driver.
The line of the weekend belongs to Hyun Kim. In great shape down the right center of the fairway. She said yesterday she was playing with Michelle McGann and Janice Moody. She said, 2 big hitters. I was trying to catch up with them walking-wise. She said, I sort of lost my rhythm because I wanted to keep up with those two.
Oh, I can understand as we look at Lori West. Ooh, with the birdie attempt, Westy, that would have put you at 11 under par. But, you know, I used to play with Carol Mann. I couldn't keep up with Carol Mann. She was over 6 feet. I'm 5 feet, so I kind of relate to Kim. But Lori West missing a huge opportunity for birdie at the 14th.
Well, 100 miles away is the hometown of Nancy Scranton, Centralia, Illinois. She's made a good move once again. Start of the day at -6, currently at 9 under par.
Get there. Be right, baby. Be right.
Safe to say she's playing the best golf of her career, Mary?
Well, she had shoulder surgery a couple years ago, Joel, and she has revamped her entire golf swing, particularly the backswing, which hurt her left shoulder. Playing good golf, and the other thing that's helped her, she's gone to left-hand low putting, as a lot of players have.
Super play. Into the pin, only about 12 feet away for a birdie to get to 10 under par and 4 off the lead. But it's interesting because you do see players, 30-somethings, even early 40s, that are coming into their own as far as, well, Julie Inkster's a great example of that this year, taking over.
That's the beauty of golf. I mean, you can be, you know, look at Shelley Hamlin. It was only a couple shots out of the lead yesterday, and she's 50 years old and still playing good golf. Now, Pearl Sin, birdie opportunity. You talk about redoing your golf game. Well, Pearl went to David Ledbetter, reshaped her golf swing, as I said earlier, about being the Collegiate Player of the Year at Arizona State University, and now she's putting for eagle. And this would put her at 12 under par, only 2 behind Kim.
As we mentioned, the wind is up. But, Mary, you've been coming here. This is the 24th edition of the State Farm Rail Classic. I've been back here a few years now. I've never, ever seen anything. It's almost like we're at Kaanapali.
Well, it is a strong wind. I mean, you have to really shape your shots according to the wind, and it affects you the most on the greens. But I think the biggest effect, as I've said already, is that the greens are much faster. They were a little on the slow side earlier this week. Now, for eagle, downhill putt should work to her right.
Come on.
Super roll. Tap in birdie for Pearl Sin. She'll only 3 shots back as she leaves the green at 15. What a performance by the defending champion. First time winner here last year. Well, Janice Moody with a difficult proposition coming up. Alice?
She has 140, Joel. The good news is she's downwind and she only has 116 to the front. So I don't think that she'll have a problem getting it out of the bunker. I think the safe bet would be to play to the left side.
You can see her dig those feet in. So important to keep the lower body steady. Little bug flying around down there. But keep that lower body steady and just really swing the upper body, make a nice turn, let the arms do the work. Got a great picture of it right here.
And that sounded pretty solid.
Good call. Janice Moody, a little more than 20 feet away for birdie out of that fairway bunker. She said she's been knocking on the door all year long. She said patience is going to be the key today because she knows if it doesn't happen today, it is going to happen soon.
Well, and I believe she's that good a player, Joel. It will, but I think patience is the whole key. And you reflect back to last week, Dottie Pepper talked about patience, and those are things that young players have to learn. Now, Kim obviously knows about patience, wonderful rhythm. I said to her, caddy, what's the strong part of her game? She said the rhythm, no matter whether she's swinging driver, sand wedge, 5-iron, or even her putter. So let's watch the rhythm, and that's one reason she can square the club face up back at the ball, even with her very long backswing that goes way past parallel.
This from 107.
Well, the leader is in the green side bunker. I don't think they realized that out in the fairway. She was firing right at the pin, and as Alice told us, downwind. Scranton for birdie. So Nancy Scranton couldn't get it to 10 under par. Marissa Baena, what kind of lie, Alice?
She actually has a good lie. She's got trees between her and the hole, but they won't affect her because she can hit the ball very easily up over them. She's got 96 yards to the hole.
Alice, she hit a very, very long drive. Did she carry it over that bunker in the right rough?
She sure did. You know, for a little girl, she probably hits it pound for pound further than anybody in the world.
Generates tremendous club head speed. Just to give you an idea, to carry that bunker from the tee is 230-yard carry, so she had to keep in the air that long as we now go to Pearl Sin.
174 yards, the par 3 16th.
And this is the tough hole. The hole location to the right, the wind going left to right, not much green to deal with. It's like a little tiny postage stamp that you're looking at where you want to land the ball, even though it's a large green.
Using a fairway metal. Looks like she's trying to cut it in there. And a nice little kick. Not on the top shelf of the green, though, because the pin is way back there on the right side.
Well, the pin, as you're looking, is right there, and so you can see what the players are looking at. They see the water and everything else that comes into play.
So Kim in trouble. She'll need an up and in to stay at 14 under par. Greenside bunker at 13 when we come back. Moody only 2 back. And stay with us as we continue with our final round coverage of the State Farm Rail Classic. Janice Moody coming out of the fairway bunker with a solid play. Uphill putt, birdie opportunity, Alice.
She's got it 27 feet. It's going to go fairly strong from her left to right as it gets up over that ridge in the middle of the green.
I guess too bad she gave up the cup from that distance. What a great putt. Right on line, just outside the left edge, a couple of feet coming back for her par. While we are away, though, we saw the leader, Hyun Kim, in the back bunker green side. In only her second bunker of the entire weekend, 0 for 1 in sand saves. So that gives you an idea of what she's been able to do. She's hit 30 out of 36 greens in regulation coming into the final round. Baena now for birdie.
From 17 feet, a little bit left to right.
Plays a little wider, and maybe another half a cup outside that edge, and it's in.
The bunker shot that Kim just hit was not a hard bunker shot. She was a little disappointed with that. It was a shot you almost feel like you can make, Joel. She had a good lie, a little uphill lie. This looks like about a 7-footer now to save her par. You can see sand save. She's 56% of the time. Rookie points, she's first in that. Eagles, birdies. I mean, she's in the top 10 in just about everything she tries to do here in America.
And she's only 5 feet, and she's 4th in Eagles. She's tied, actually, for second with a bunch of others because 3 players are at 9 Eagles. She's got 8, but that gives you an idea of the distance she also has.
No, she's definitely not short, but this is, I believe, an extremely important putt. This to keep a 2-shot lead, little uphill putt.
And again, going a little bit from left to right.
Just wouldn't move.
She-
Tried to, Alice.
I'll tell you what, I think the reason why she hit that bunker shot a little past the hole was because it was back into the wind, too. I'm sure she was surprised with how far it went.
If there is one minus in her first 2 rounds, and it's difficult to find, she's needed 62 putts, 31 each day, and So often when you see somebody atop the leaderboard, you'll see them with 25, 26, 27 putts.
But also, Joel, what that tells you is she's hitting a lot of greens
Right.
and a lot of fairways, really striking the ball well. Now, Janice Moody, although she missed that birdie putt, knocks us in for par, and she's only one shot behind Kim.
She's been real steady on these so far today.
All right. Just like Kim, Moody looking for her first career title, her second year on the LPGA Tour.
And I really think it's going to come down to the 15th and 16th holes, the birdie or eagle at 15 and maybe the par, eliminating the bogey at 16. Now, Baena for par.
And Marissa Baena stays 4 shots back at 9 under par.
And Joel, Marissa Baena almost missed her tee time the first day as we go to Pearl Sin, and I'll tell you about that as we look at Pearl. She got into an automobile accident coming out. She was so nervous. She speaks Spanish, speaks English. She was so nervous she couldn't speak either one. The policeman wasn't going to let her go. But she's okay, and so is everybody else involved in the accident.
We saw the fairway metal into the green at 16 for Pearl Sin, the par 3, playing 174 yards. Pearl Sin only 2 shots back. A long birdie roll coming up.
And long is a good word for it. Not the easiest of putts. There's a lot of undulation in the screen. It breaks down towards the water. It's probably a good 40, maybe 45 feet. And she's going to have to come up over the ridge. And now you get a good look at this green, and we're going to just inch in that whole location here in a minute. There's a ridge that goes across the green right here. And then everything's going to break down towards the water. But the key here is having the correct speed. And I better take lessons on how to draw arrows. Those were pretty bad.
That's too skinny a green, though, for a green by water. That's all I can say.
Well, it's not the kind of shot you want to stand on the tee with and go at the pin sheet. You want to play it to the fat of the green. So the main thing you want to concern yourself right now with Pearl is just your speed. Cozy it up near the hole, get your 2-putt, and move on.
She makes it. She wraps it up. She probably walks in and wins for the 2nd consecutive year. Slow down. In fact, hit a wall. She's got a good 12 feet coming back.
At least 12 feet, but the key is she's putting back up the hill. She saw the break as the ball rolled past the hole. She's got some idea of what it's going to do, and all you can do is shake your head on a putt like that, Joel.
So Pearl Sin trying to stay within 2 of the lead at 11 under par, but she's got a long par putt coming back when we return to the State Farm Rail Classic. One of those 40-somethings that's playing so well. Lori West, the 43-year-old, coming up a little bit short on the par 5. We go back to 16. Pearl Sin right at 12 feet for par. That hurts. Within 2 of the lead on the green. Now, while we are away, Tina Barrett trying to pick up a birdie, currently at 9 under par.
That was the story of her round yesterday. Hit a lot of good shots, just rolled it right on the edge of the cup. And Pearl Sin, I'm sure, a little disgusted with herself. And you think, well, she 3-putted, but the key was the shot she hit into the green. You're about 50 feet from the hole location.
We continue with our final 18 holes, the State Farm Rail Classic. Precarious 1-shot lead now for Kim over Moody. And let's check in with Mary Bryan and her special guest.
I'm very fortunate to be sitting here with Senior Vice President of State Farm, Jack North. And Jack, your involvement in women's sports is great, but in particular the LPGA, we welcome it.
Well, Mary, we're proud to be here and pleased to be here again for our 7th year as title sponsor. We've watched this wonderful golf tournament grow over the years, and it's a great feeling for us, particularly the many volunteers. 150 State Farm people give up part of their Labor Day weekend to support this tournament, and it's really extended State Farm family for us.
Well, it's certainly a labor of love, not only for the State Farm people, but for the LPGA. And, you know, it's a special week. We're really missing someone very important and very instrumental in putting this tournament on.
Mary, no question, it's a bittersweet weekend for all of us. Bruce Callis, first and foremost, was a great leader at State Farm, and I think we all know he was a pioneer and visionary of women's athletics and a true inspiration for this wonderful golf tournament. So we'll look forward to presenting the winner of this year's tournament, the first Bruce Callis Trophy. How appropriate.
It is appropriate, and what a beautiful trophy it is on top of that. But, you know, here we are sitting here and talking about Bruce Callis, great weather, wonderful labor of love. But what about your golf game? I know you played in the Pro-Am.
Well, I played in the Pro-Am. It's always fun to be inside the ropes once in a while. We played with Katrina Matthew, a young pro from Scotland. We had a wonderful time. And, yes, I hit a few good golf shots, and we won't go the rest of the way.
Well, Jack, I know there's some good golf shots yet to watch on the golf telecast today. So thank you so much for talking to us. And most of all, thank you to State Farm.
All right, Marion, thanks to Jack North for all his help all weekend long. It's been great to come out to the golf course because of so much cooperation, as well as the hospitality from all the volunteers that he was just talking about as the final group is out at 14.
And I would say Bruce Callis is probably looking down from above and making sure we had good weather every day, Joel. Now, Janice Moody.
Janice has 136 to the hole.
Is the wind still gusting out there?
It is, Joel, and she's pretty much downwind right now. A little bit from her left, but mostly downwind.
Great play off the tee. This has been the second most difficult hole on the golf course over the first 36.
And the wind has kind of changed because when they hit their tee shots, it was definitely in their face and from the right. Now it almost feels like it's a little behind them from the left. So little change out here.
Maybe that's why she just stepped away from the ball when she was ready to address it.
This is a 9-iron for Janice.
Fly ball.
It did. Stayed just barely up on that first cut with the fringe. But it will be a birdie putt below the pin for Janice Moody.
Joel, I talked about Lori West being a great athlete, took up golf, became very natural for her in this chip for birdie. She was a triathlete at the University of Colorado, and she could run, jump. Javelin was her best thing, though.
While we are away, Hyun Kim coming in her approach at 14 after a big drive.
Just where she wants to be on the lower level.
Legitimate birdie try coming up for the leader when we return. So the Rookie of the Year on the LPGA Tour, Hyun Kim, trying to add to her lead, currently at 1. Birdie opportunity coming up for the leader, Hyun Kim of South Korea. Only one up, though, on Janice Moody, and during our timeout, Janice Moody, who's got 7 top 10s and 22 tournaments, make it 8. The State Farm Rail Classic, putting for birdie. Had a good roll up the hill, a little more than a foot left.
Joel, a smart move using the putter off to the front fringe there because it's just an uphill putt. Now, Kim with the birdie opportunity. Pretty makeable, isn't it, Alice?
It is. It's a good putt. It's up the hill. It's going to break a little bit from left to right, I think, but not much. I don't think there's a whole lot in it.
You know, you look over Kim, what she's done this week, Alice, she's hit just about 89% of the greens, so she's had tremendous amount of opportunities for birdies. It's just another one.
And they are big greens, so there are a lot of players that are hitting a lot of greens out here this week. Obviously, the closer you hit it to the hole, you know, the more success you're going to have.
Big difference from what we saw last week in East Lansing. Old golf course, small greens.
Now, watch her stroke. Her putter's only about not quite 31 inches long, so it tells you how short. His hand's a little bit behind the ball. This is for birdie after coming off the bogey.
Get up. Get up.
If it's up, it's in.
Almost looked like it backed up at the hole.
So the tap-in par for Kim to stay at 13 under. Her consistency has been amazing. We talked about it a little bit yesterday with 12 top 20s this year for Hyun Kim, 7 top 10s. This will be her 8th
And then there's Marissa Baena, who really has only played in 12 tournaments this year, made the cut in 6 of them. She's what they call a conditional player. She's not an exempt player. But a big paycheck here, as I said, would move her much closer to not having to go back to the qualifying school in October.
And another real good chance here, Mary, up the hill. Could break just slightly from right to left, but again, not a whole lot of break.
To get within 3 of the lead. Yes! Don't discount the chances of the former Arizona All-American. And Lori West capitalizing as well. So back-to-back birds. Lori West as well as Marissa Baena.
Well, that moved Lori West to 11 under par, so she is now only 2 shots behind the leader, and this is Janice Moody for her par.
Okay. Well, they didn't make 14 look like the second most difficult hole on the golf course over the first 36, the way our final group of the day played it, Moody, Baena, and Kim.
You're now looking back down the 17th fairway as you look at your favorite players' scores on the bottom. I believe it was 80 players that made the cut. The cut was -1. And now Pearlson with her second. This would be a wedge. Tee shot comes across that water you see behind Pearl, just to a fairway that's about 27 yards in depth. You're hitting actually across the fairway. And then you just wedge it in. Very good opportunity for birdie.
One of the easiest holes on the golf course,
I was
Mary.
going to say, Joel, has played under par every day.
Even with the stick, pulled it a little bit left, but a birdie opportunity coming up because she needs to go birdie to have a shot. She picked up that bogey as we saw with the 3-putt at 16. So Pearl's in 3 behind Kim at 10 under par. We'll continue on the deuce with our final round of the State Farm Rail Classic. Welcome back once again to Springfield, Illinois. And what perfect weather. Incredible conditions today for our final round of the State Farm Rail Classic. Joel Myers went with Mary Bryan and Alice Ritzman. Defending champion Pearlson with a solid play into the green at 17. She is currently at 10 under par, 3 off the lead. And Mary, I said she needed birdie coming in. Do you concur on that to get close to Kim? Because there's some birdies still out there.
Well, I think 15 and 16, as I said, are the key. And if you don't make birdie at number 15, you really lose a half a shot, maybe a whole shot to the field. And as you look at the scores below, and you're going to get to the P's here, which we are in just a moment, you're going to see the name of Kathy Postlewaite. And we just want to wish her good luck. This is her last tournament as an LPGA professional. She's retiring, and, you know, best of luck to you, Posty. Great career, 4 wins on the LPGA. Now, Pearlson for birdie at 17. There you go, Joel.
Not a bad comeback after the 3-putt and the disappointment at 16, but I've got a feeling, I like the look, I've got a feeling we're going to see a lot of players in trouble at 16 with that pin position today on that very narrow, long green.
Well, 16, you have to play it smart. You've got to play to the fat of the green. And let's look at Pearl again after she makes this putt. Coming off the bogey in the 3-putt at 16, and she's going to take a little peek here. Whoa, yeah. She's been a terrific defending champion. Came back to Springfield, visited the hospitals that the tournament sends money to after they find their charities that they want to send them to. And she went to all of them, held the babies, and she said, you know, it's an experience she'll never forget.
80 degrees, humidity is low. Welcome back to the island of Maui. It is absolutely incredible. Labor Day weekend in the Midwest. We're spoiled by the conditions. So Kim with a 1-shot lead over Moody, and don't forget Pearlson with a birdie opportunity coming up at 18. Time now for a golf tip with Mary Bryan. All brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you're watching LPGA golf, you see a lot of different looking golf swings, just like there are a lot of different personalities. But there's one thing all the good swings have in common, and that's the hitting area. And what's the hitting area? Well, that's where the club is from hip to hip, meaning from your right hip to your left hip. You want it to be squared up and you want some acceleration. Now, a way to practice your hitting area or be correct in your hitting area is hit little shots. Just take it from your right hip to your left hip, hitting little punch shots, and then you learn where you want the club to be. After I practice my acceleration from hip to hip, then I just take a full swing, make my full swing, but I work on through the hitting area. So when you're watching the players today, watch where the club is from their right hip to their left hip. That's really the most important part of the golf swing.
That's a good-looking shirt, too. Welcome back as we continue with our final round coverage of the State Farm Rail Classic on the Deuce. A bit of a backup at 15. Anticipated, though. Threesomes, final day of the championship. So plenty of time to think about not only your shots in at 15, but also that green at 16, the difficult par 3. Now, we saw the birdie of Pearl Sin on 17 to get to 11 under par. The defending champ needs a solid one off 18. This was while we were away.
There's a bunker left if that goes too far left. That's the third shot she's pulled now, Joel. Pulled the shot at 16, her second shot at 17, and then the tee shot at 18.
So her approach into 18, you can see the ball is definitely going to be below her feet, out of the rough.
Paired with Sherry Steinhauer, who's had a wonderful year. Sherry won the British Open, in fact, defended her championship at the British Open just a few weeks ago. Won the Jowl Big Apple Classic in New York.
Rounds of 68 and 69 for Sherry Steinhauer over the first 36 holes. It almost seems like the first two-thirds of the season belonged to Julie Inkster and Karia Webb, and then it was Sherry Steinhauer's cue to come in, stage left, and she just took over.
You look back at the 15th tee, I mean, there are 3 groups at this point on 15, and anytime there's a par 5, you can hit in 2. And it also has some trouble, water left and the fairway bunkers, so they can just kind of have a little picnic up there, just lay out a few napkins and get some sandwiches and have a good time as you look back down the fairway.
Alice Ritzman out there is the cause of this delay. Is that correct, Alice?
Thanks, Joel.
Now, the hole has been the easiest hole on the golf course, almost a half a shot below par.
I'll tell you what, where this really affects, too, is the players trying to win for the first time, because a backup like this makes it so difficult.
Too much time to think, isn't it, Alice?
It's a lot. It's not going to make it any easier.
Well, as we look at them on the tee, Kim is the one that really is doing the thinking. Marissa and Janice Moody kind of chatting and laughing, but Kim very serious. In fact, the Koreans are very serious people, I think. And as I was there last fall and talk about the junior players coming over here, great golf swings, a lot of good young players, and there are going to be a lot of them at the LPGA qualifying school in October. But here's the destiny maybe for Kim, and as I said, she's going home today, and what does she miss the most? She can't wait to go home and have some Korean food.
Well, don't forget to join us for the 20th anniversary special coming up on ESPN this coming Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern. You won't want to miss it. ESPN's 20th anniversary primetime special, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern. Going back to what Alice Richmond was just talking about, trying to win for the first time and being out there with too much time to think about it, especially sitting in a logjam on a par 5 tee where group on the green, group on the fairway. Karen Stupples, I think, said it best yesterday. She said, I really tried not to think about it at all. When I got up there, they said my name. I realized I was tied for the lead of an LPGA tournament, and my arms simply didn't work anymore. She said, I was so nervous, I didn't even make it to the fairway. In fact, Karen Stupples did a great job because she topped 2 balls off the first tee, which was the 10th tee for her yesterday, and made bogey still.
Well, and she still ended up shooting under par, shot 70 as we're back at the 18th now with Pearl. And, talk about first-time winner, as Pearl was here last year. You walk up that 18th hole, she'd have a lot of memories about how she finished this tournament last year. Make sure you have the exact yardage. And the wind today, as we said, is kind of now started to swirl around, but it's very strong. It'll be from her left to right, hole location back left of the green. Brings the front bunker into play. Now, Sue Ginter, the playing partner of Sherry Steinhauer and Pearl Sin. Sue Ginter from Appleton, Wisconsin. Played the Futures Tour for a while, and now making her mark on the LPGA. And
what a break.
Yeah, just what you have to do, though, you have to just barely carry that bunker to try to get it close.
Great play this weekend. Rounds of 69 and 68 for Sue Ginter. And finally, Pearl Sin trying to get to 12 under par with a birdie here.
What I want you to do when you watch this golf swing is you watch what a solid base she has. Her legs stay pretty steady, makes tremendous turn with the upper part of her body, and then accelerates the club through. And what she does on the practice range is she practices with a baseball bat. Her caddy will sit there. She'll take her stance. The caddy will throw up a ball. She'll take the baseball bat and hit the ball, trying to keep her feet solid on the ground. Not only has it worked as far as making good contact and rhythm, she said it's made her stronger because this wooden baseball bat she uses is a very heavy one.
Well, right now, Mary, it seems like she's got a ton of indecision on club selection because of the wind.
Well, the wind and also her lie. Is it going to fly? Is it not going to fly? She's just got to trust, take the club, trust it, and make a good swing. Better to be a little long here than short. Well, that's more than a little long. That's probably under the bleachers, but she will get a drop, and she'll have a tough little pitch shot from there. But that ball came out pretty hot. She didn't get the height on it that she wanted.
Jenny Lidback, who started the day at 8 under par. Currently 2 upper on her round today with a birdie try below the pin on the green at 16.
And Jenny is having a wonderful year on the LPGA. She's had some great finishes. She's been in the hunt several times. Very methodical player, went to Louisiana State University, grew up mostly in Peru.
Finished 11th last weekend, Mary. Top 10 prior to that at the Big Apple in New York. 7th place finish in Toledo. So she's put together some nice top 10s over the last couple of months.
She's 47th on the money list right now with 162,000 as they are still back at the 15th tee and maybe getting ready to break up this picnic and start to hit their shots.
But as Alice said, for players that are trying to win for the first time, and all 3 in that final group, Moody, Bayan, and Kim, trying to claim their first championship. Too much time.
Now, the interesting thing as we look at Jenny Lidback is that Bayanna and Moody played a lot of golf together in college. Both participated in the same NCAA championships, played against one another, so they know each other very well. Kim, this is her first time really in the United States this year to play. Now Lidback for birdie to move to 7 under at the tough par 3 16th, and this is almost the same putt we saw Pearl Sin had earlier.
Hit the cup. Well done. They always say get it within 3 feet from that distance, and you're in pretty good range. So just about 3 feet past. Shelley Hamlin.
This on the short par 4 17th. This a wedge. And very nice, Shelley Lee Hamlin.
Back to 15. Marissa Baena coming off the birdie.
She took a couple extra practice swings before she stepped up there just to try and get loose again.
She's in good shape, Alice, down the left-hand side. And
that is absolutely perfect, Mary.
Now Kim. And one thing that'll probably help her with this weight is she does have such great rhythm in her golf swing. We've got a good look at it here, Alice. Looks like the club's as long as she is.
It almost is. Just down the left side. Got a pretty fortunate bounce there, stayed out of the bunker.
We'll find out, though, if Baena can go for the green in 2, coming off that birdie. They got her to 10 under par.
Now Janice Moody.
That wind gusting a little bit from the left and in their face here, so they won't have the short shots maybe that they've had in the last couple days. That looks like it's going right.
So a bit of a leak into the first cut of rough. Just off the fairway for Janice Moody. Up ahead, this just a minute ago. Birdie, try above the pin for Lori West.
And what a shot she hit into this position on this tough 16. Get up, Lori. I'll tell you, you'll take a par on the 16th and move on. So Lori West will remain at 11 under par, only 2 shots behind the leader.
This is going to be by far the best finish of the year for Lori West, her previous best, a tie for 29th. Well, we'll find out about the ruling now for Pearl Sin because of the standard behind the green.
And Joel, this is not a penalty by any means. It was just under the TV tower. Marty, the LPGA official, is there to make sure she takes the correct drop. And what she has to do is that she marks, gets 2 club lengths, and then she drops to make sure she's not closer to the hole. Some people think it's the green. It's not the green necessarily, it's the hole. She can clean the ball off, which you see her doing now, and then she'll take her drop. Actually moving it over to the left where she's going to get her relief is a bit of a break because it gives her just a little bit more green to work with. And you can see Pearl Sin's front 9, 2 birdies, no bogeys. And then the back 9, 3 birdies, but the 2 bogeys really the killer 16 3-putt and then 14. And he's having her drop one more time because it jumped a little forward. And so you place the ball, and he watched where it hit, and that's exactly where she places the ball, where the ball hits the ground after the 2 drops.
Still, she's not going to have a ton of green left to work with behind it there.
No, but Joel, as I said, coming to the left gives her a little bit more green. And now placing the ball, although she has to place it exactly where it's hit the spot on the ground, she's going to have to hit really a little flop shot here, and that's going to help her because the ball's sitting pretty good right there. And here's a good look at the green, and it really breaks strongly in this direction and also away from her. So she's going to have just the right touch. So she's going to have to play it, I'd say, about 4 or 5 feet towards the right of the cup and maybe land it just on the fringe or just over the fringe.
Huge play coming up for the defending champion. Don't forget she is only 2 shots off the lead. And Kim, not in the best of shape, but it is a par 5 where she went a little bit left. Emily Klein at 16.
It's going left.
Take right. Take right.
That'll test your nerves.
Well, she had the right length, just the wrong location. Now back with Pearl Sin. This is a great angle. You know, if we can stay with this angle, watching this little pitch shot, you're going to see how her arms work in this swing. The body will stay still, and watch her arms swing the club. What a neat angle to watch this from.
Slow down. So a little more than 3 feet left for Sin to stay at 11 under. And that was a great look. That's what we call coach's footage in football and basketball, the overhead view. Break it down. Oh, while we were watching that, this is just a second ago, an eagle try coming up for Karen Stupples, the refreshing one from England. Rookie, a non-exempt player trying to get to 9 under par. Tap in left to get to 8 under. And at 17, saw the super play of Shelly Hamlin coming in. Can she capitalize now?
You look back over the career of Shelly Hamlin, and she's been on the tour since 1972. Battled breast cancer in 1991, came back to win after that. Been through a lot in this game of golf, but loves to play the game of golf. It's the one thing that keeps her going. This for birdie. Little right to left break.
Shelly started the day at 8 under par. Her best outing as well this tour season. Tina Barrett, par putt at 15, and that's like a double bogey when you take a bogey at that par 5.
Well, and she was in the fairway bunker off the tee, and that just set up the trouble right away. So now moves over to 16, but as you said, Joel, the 15th hole, 4 is almost par. I mean, it's almost the golf course almost plays to a par 70, really, when you look at the 2 par 5s that are reachable. And now Stupples, who we documented yesterday, and for those of you who were not listening, great story. She and her fiance, who is her caddy, sold everything they owned in England to come over to the United States so she could play on the LPGA Tour. So she's scrapping and fighting for everything she can get. Left hand low, just for birdie.
So the former Florida State Seminole played her college golf in Tallahassee at 8 under par. Only 26, trying to earn her way into the top 125 on tour. Now, Alice Ritzman, what about the play of our leader, Kim?
Well, I was going to say maybe it's a good thing she's a short person, but I'm not so sure it is here. She may have to stand in the bunker. Her ball is out of the bunker. She's got 227 to the hole, a little bit into the wind.
You have to be careful not to hit this shot fat. And there's water left of the green.
And I think she'll be all right with that one. Just in the left-hand rough.
We've already seen earlier today what she can do, though, inside of 100 yards around the green. Great wedge play. So pretty good strike from that position with her feet in the bunker. Difficult stance.
It really was, Joel. If you put everything in the package together, here she is leading her first tournament. It's a shot that you could hit fat very easily or shank, but her rhythm and her golf swing really creates hitting a good shot. As you're watching Janice Moody walk out of the rough there, she's obviously already hit her second shot.
She had to lay up from that position. What about Baena, though, because it looked like she hit a bomb off the tee?
She did, Joel. She only has 188 to the hole, 178 to the front. Little wind, like I said, in their face. She might be hitting some kind of a grip 4-iron.
Little wind looks like it could knock her down, and she's got a buck 88 left into the pin. That is a long drive.
But you know what's kind of fascinating about her is she does not like to work out. She's a self-admitted couch potato, as she says. But she has started working out. She's eliminated any of the problems she had with her shoulder, and she's a better player.
Little right to left action needed off the club head.
Bounce up.
Oh, yeah. Great shot. She'll be putting for eagle, and that could certainly make up for the double bogey she had back at number 8.
An eagle there would put her at 12 under par, celebrating with her caddy. Now can Pearl Sim. Can she save par? Yes. What an up and down after the relief from the standard. And what a weekend for the defending champion. So many great memories from last year for all of us for Pearl Sim. And a stellar performance, finishing up at 11 under. We'll find out if she's going to stick around for a potential playoff. Hyun Kim, third into the par 5.
And this from 45 yards. And she controlled that pretty well out of that rough.
So about 12 feet away for her birdie opportunity. Also, during our timeout, third shot for Janice Moody.
If you remember, she was in the right rough and trees, had to punch to this point.
And it sounded, you heard that thump, it sounded like she took it a little heavy.
A little heavy. Well, with that little cutting action she has in her golf swing, sometimes she doesn't accelerate the club head through, and she does catch him a little heavy. I noticed that on the practice range this morning before she plays. Sometimes she tends to slow the club down coming in. Almost the same shot we saw her hit back at 14.
So Janice Moody, we have been told, has been assessed a 2-shot penalty, and we saw it back on 13 in the fairway bunker. You saw the little distraction right before she was ready to hit. And there was a bug, and we thought it was right above the ball, Mary Bryan.
Well, evidently she must have, well, I don't know. The bug was on the ball, but to me it didn't look like she touched the ball. But evidently she admitted that she did, so it was a 2-shot penalty, and she is now 10 under par instead of 12 under par.
So a huge putt for her to get to minus 11 as she is away.
And a very tricky putt, too. Will break pretty severely from her right to left. 25 feet.
Alice, have you noticed the demeanor change or anything after the 2-shot penalty she was assessed?
You know, I really haven't, Mary. I really haven't, Mary. She's, you know, she's such a calm person anyway. I haven't seen a a bit of difference yet.
What a huge letdown and disappointment, though, when you're going for your first career title.
And I don't know, I would assume that Kim knows what took place, Alice, and if so, that gives her a little bit of leeway and a little breathing room.
But still, Baena, at 10 under par, has an eagle opportunity here at 15.
Well, I think Kim is first to putt with her birdie.
And I'll tell you what, I can't tell anything from Kim's demeanor either. Hyun is also very calm person. So if she knows she has a big lead now, she's not acting like it either.
Wouldn't want to play poker against her, would you?
No.
It's currently a 2-shot advantage over Pearlson, who's already finished up this 54-hole event. And I mentioned may want to stick around for the potential of a playoff. Lori West also looking for her first career win at 11 under par with a couple of holes to play.
And this putt could have a little speed to it.
Read it on the high side, and it never came down. Lori West trying to move within 1 shot of the lead.
Downhill putt should break to her right, almost birdied the 16th. And I would say that was not a good effort there. You could just see the ball was right the whole way. Another player who's gone to left-hand low putting has become a better putter because of it.
Well, Marissa Baena, good marker ball. You could see it greenside because it was on the fringe. Give us a read, Alice.
I'll tell you what, she's right on that ridge that runs through the green. I still think this putt is going to break from left to right, but, you know, it's one of those tricky ones to read. Just about 17 feet downhill.
And this puts her in second place by herself. Should she make it? Ooh.
Still, the tap-in birdie takes her to 11 under par. And within 2 shots of the lead with 3 holes to play. So Baena right back in the ball game. So many looking for their first career championships. 2 first-time winners of the last 2 years here. Welcome back once again as we continue at the State Farm Rail Classic. Janice Moody losing 2 shots because of that incident. The bug considered a loose impediment. She went down, and the bug jumped up.
And she flicks the bug away, and you just cannot do that. And she was the first to admit she did it. And again, a 2-shot penalty, so it pretty much takes her out of the hunt, particularly not birdieing the 15th hole.
We had a backup at 15, so we've got a backup now on the par 3 16th. Baena coming off a birdie. Kim coming off a par at 15. Kim has played the back 9 at 3 under par. She's currently in the lead by 2. Baena, though, has scorched the back 9 over the first 36 holes, playing it at 7 under par.
Now Lori West, tee shot at 18.
You don't have to yell at that one.
Lori West makes a birdie here. She moves into second place by herself, and she will, even if she ties for second, will pick up her biggest paycheck on the LPGA Tour. First place, $116,000. Second place, $72,000.
I like the commentary, though, from it was either Jenny Lidback or Betsy King, and they said to Lori West, you didn't even have to holler at that one. It was right down the middle. Now, Jenny Lidback, the next on the tee.
Lori has been known to be a bit demonstrative when she plays the game of golf, so she talks to the ball as much as Dottie Pepper.
Hang on to the background. Don't go through the fairway, and she did one of the quicker swings you'll see on the LPGA Tour, that of Jenny Lidback, but a positive result as that group is off the tee at 18. The lead group, though, waiting on the tee at 16. Kim up by a couple.
Now Tina Barrett with the birdie attempt at 16 is to move to 9 under. Get in there. Ooh. A good roll.
We saw the disappointment for Tina at 15 when she took that bogey there. Oh, we just saw that group of Lidback, King, and Lori West is currently tied for second off the tee at 18. Jenny Lidback so far today, 2 over par, 6 under for the tournament.
Joel, you commented on her swing being quick and fast. It really isn't as quick and fast as it looks. She just happens to be a little shorter than some players, and the shorter you are, the faster your swing looks. Remember, the hole location is Pearl Sin right over that bunker. You got to land it just over the bunker to get it close. Wonderful golf shot.
Whatever speed her swing is at, the result is phenomenal for Jenny Lidback. Stupples looking for back-to-back birds.
And what a great shot she hit in here.
She is never short, is she?
We haven't seen that yet.
She is never going to come up short of the hole. So misses the birdie try from a little more than 6 feet away.
And you're
Lori West getting ready to come into 18. And what a critical shot this is for the 43-year-old who started playing golf at the age of 22. Not quite a tin cup story if she wins, but pretty darn close.
But you know what? She's the kind of player that might stand there and hit it 100 times trying to get it over the water. She's that kind of personality. Now, this is a great look at the shot she has. And again, I talk about that front bunker. You've got to land it just in here because the green slopes this direction. If you land it by the hole, you're going to be over the green. And again, this could be the biggest payday in Lori West's LPGA career. Started in 1984. Big fly fisherman, goes to New Zealand, all over the world to do fly fishing. Really enjoys it.
Yeah, it is uphill. It does play uphill.
The club selection confirmed now. And as you mentioned, she went to Colorado on a track and field scholarship.
Well, and as I said, javelin was her main thing. But again, you heard her say uphill, left to right wind. Just get comfortable over it and make a good swing here, Laura.
The right number. Right there. Oh.
Unfortunately, in Pearl Sin territory, she said to her caddy right away, his choice of clubs was the correct one.
You heard him say, I didn't want to argue with you on it. He wanted her to go one less club, but still, it's better to be a little long than short, and she's probably not in as bad a position as she thinks she is.
Back to the tee at 16. Final group of the day, Janice Moody, Marissa Baena, and Mi-Hyun Kim.
And I'll tell you what, I was talking about how hard it was to have a backup. If there's a worse hole in the world to have a backup on, I can't think of one other than this one. 174 yards, pin all the way back in the toughest location. Wind kind of at them and from the left, so blowing towards the water.
X marks the spot of the hole location.
And that started left.
Give us a piece of green. Fine, Marissa.
And actually not all that bad.
She had the right club, Alice, just the wrong location again. Now, Kim, I think if she gets past this hole, then she's almost home free. But what does she have in her hand? 9-wood?
I think it's a 7-wood. And again, probably aiming a little bit left of the hole. Trying to go to the widest part of the green. That looks like it's right at it.
She was trying to cut it in there.
From the reaction of Mi-Hyun Kim, it looks like the rough held it up from getting wet.
From our vantage point, it looked like it went into the water. She's going to have to be very careful when she goes down there. If she moves any grass, the ball rolls back in the water. It will be deemed in the water.
Toughest hole on the golf course over the first 36. Now Janice Moody.
Actually sets up perfectly for Janice Moody. The left to right wind, the left to right action she puts on her ball, so she can aim it at the middle of the green and just let everything drift back towards the hole.
And just a 5-iron for Janice. And that looks like it's just right at the pin.
She'll be putting from there. But the big story of the play of Hyun Kim, her lie, her stance as well, and how close it got to the water at 16. Almost a half a stroke above par so far. We continue with our final round coverage of the State Farm Rail Classic. We're wrapping this one with a ribbon on that package. And Lori West, she'll need that for her par to stay at 11 under at 18.
A lot of conversation with her caddy about not using the right club coming up there, but when she got over this shot, I think she was pretty much concerned with what she wanted to do, and it was a very quick little chip shot, but she has a makeable putt for par.
Well, Alice Ritzman, we saw her just walking away. Alice, pretty decent lie, isn't it?
It's actually not bad. She's got a little more room than I thought she'd have. She's got 2 or 3 feet actually from the edge of the hazard. Not a good lie, but not a terrible lie.
Okay, so you feel she'll make it right there for a birdie, obviously. We'll come right back and see if it's a big hole for Hyun Kim. Will she stay 2 up? And will she be able to get up and in? Green side at 16. Joel Myers along with Mary Bryan and Alice Ritzman. Kim up by 2. Sin comfortably in the clubhouse. West has about 10 feet left to save par at 18 to stay at -11. But first, the play of Baena trying to get to -12.
Just a little chip here. Just get it on the surface, let it run down. And that ran a little further than she wanted it to. Very fast from there.
Is it still dry?
It is dry, but it's well past the hole.
So a very aggressive play by Baena at this juncture of the tournament, especially when you consider the difficult proposition coming up for Kim as well.
But she's that kind of personality, that kind of player. I mean, she's trying to make everything. She's just got that kind of a head on her shoulders that she wants to be aggressive, and she can make the putt coming back. But now Kim's shot, Alice, not a bad lie.
Not a bad lie. She just needs to pitch it up in the air about 12 feet, and then the second half of the shot is straight downhill, so it should just go right down to the hole. Just needs to get it up on the surface.
Now you can see she was not happy with that. Had the right idea, just didn't quite hit it hard enough. So
even when we watched her practice swings, though, it was very slow through the grass, like almost like she was decelerating even on her practice swings.
But it's pretty much her rhythm in her golf swing. Now let's take a real close look at it. Pretty good lie. You almost hit it like a bunker shot. Really catch the grass first. Just caught a little too much grass that time. Had to be a little more abrupt, I think, in the backswing and just kind of pop down on it. Now what she's doing right now, she's taking a long look at a leaderboard that's right there by the green. Now Janice Moody for birdie.
And I think she could actually move the ball, but she's probably a little leery of getting anywhere near the ball right now. I think she's going to chip.
We've seen some interesting selections here at 16.
Well, I think the chip was the right thing, and she's certainly maybe a little irritated from that 2-shot penalty at 13, trying to make everything that she looks at this point, whether she's chipping or putting. Take a little deep breath. I think very composed young woman, though. She's won 12 events when she was at San Jose State in the collegiate level. Knows victory, doesn't know it on the LPGA Tour yet. But here's a player that you're going to see a lot of. Fun to watch, aggressive with everything, lots of personality. Nice little strut across the green, but this putt now for par.
She was a runner-up at the 96 U.S. Amateur when it was taken by Kelly Keeney, 3-time All-American at Arizona. And a huge putt for par for Baena to stay at 11 under.
From 20 feet up the hill.
Come on.
Now she's got to cross her fingers on the results of Kim, whether or not she makes her par putt, because she has just dropped a shot to the leader on the same green to go to -10.
Joel, to tell you what kind of person Marissa Baena is, she came her last year of high school at St. George, Utah, to learn English so she could go then to the University of Arizona. Now, Lori West, huge putt for par on the last hole to stay at 11 under.
Can't leave that puppy short. Tap in for bogey. What a weekend it was for Lori West, despite the bogey, as she let us all know. Her best finish this year on the LPGA Tour. Didn't come on the tour till 1984. What an animated character.
Now this putt for par for Kim, and we talk about important putts. She misses this, she drops to 12, still with 2 holes to play. And Pearl Sin sitting up there at 11, and Baena just making her bogey has dropped to 10. Oh boy, maybe the game is on now with 2 holes to go, Joel. And
if she makes it, Mary, I think it's a walk in the park. She's up by 3 on Baena and 2 up on Sin in the clubhouse. Pearl Sin's not going anywhere.
no, I wouldn't think so, because you've got a tee shot over water now on 17. And then 18, where you've seen the hole location, it's a tough hole to get to.
We talked about it at the very top of the telecast. All the players tell you winning the first one is the toughest. Michelle McGann waited 7 seasons before she got her first one, and then 7 over 3 years.
In bringing up Michelle McGann's name, I would like to say, you know, hats off to the Hat Lady, because she was in the hospital all Saturday night, played yesterday, made the cut, and then played again today. She's doing fine for her fans at home.
To stay within 2. And that may just about do it for Janice Moody, sliding to -9. Even with the 2-stroke penalty at 13, I think if she makes that, she's still got more than a legitimate shot, just like Baena. But running out of holes with only 2 to play. A watery grave for that one for Moody. So all 3 players coming away with bogey at 16. Join us this Saturday, 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Pacific. Boy, what a great position for the Pitt Panthers to be in, taking on the 4th-ranked Nittany Lions of Penn State. It is going to be, though, fortunately for the Panthers, at Pitt Stadium. So join us on ESPN. And our college football week, don't forget, it all starts on Thursday.
And Penn State scored 70 points in their first game. I wouldn't want to be playing them.
2 holes left as they just completed their 52nd. Kim, along with Baena and Moody. As we get ready for 17, give you an idea of what they've done on 17 so far this week. Baena has had birdies in each of the first 2 rounds at 17, while Kim has played it at 1 under par with a birdie in the first round, at a par at 17 yesterday. Janice Moody has also played it under par over the weekend. -1 over the first 2 with a birdie over the first 18. Baena hasn't lost the honors.
Got everything. Oh, God, don't.
Well, she thought she found the fairway bunker, didn't she?
Well, she's trying not to cut off too much. There's a bunker that skirts across that you want to carry. It's about a 200-yard carry. She just blocked that a little bit, but better right than left, where it's water that skirts all the way down the dog leg to the left. Now Kim.
And you're right, Mary. All they want to do here is put a shot somewhere between 200 and 240 yards out there to stay in the fairway.
Not exactly pleased either.
Just a little to the right.
It's interesting, though, club selection, because on a short par 4 of 335 yards, maybe better control with the 3-wood, a fairway wood.
But you can cut off a lot off the tee, Joel. You can take it right across the water, across that bunker. And, and the wind is pretty strong out there right now, going pretty much from left to right. Now Janice Moody.
Sounded good, Alice.
That looks perfect. Still running through the fairway, though.
So Moody in the best shape off the tee at 17. Our final threesome of the day. Stumbling and struggling just a bit off that green at 16. We'll find out if Kim can maintain. The two you're looking at, Baena to your right, Kim to your left, have found the rough off the tee at 17. Moody in good shape with a short play in, and the pin position at 17. Not quite middle of the green, a little up front of middle of the green and over to the right just slightly.
Alice, you've been out there walking the yards and checking the lies. How do they look?
Actually, the lies are all fairly good, Mary. The wind is gusting pretty strong right now, just about in their face, almost directly at them.
Well, that's a big help because you can be more aggressive when you have a shot that you can hit into the wind. And we're looking from behind Kim. You can see the wide open green, so it's just waiting there to hit the front part of the green. And Kim, 3 birdies on the front, no bogeys.
And actually, that wind should help hold the ball up because they're not going to be able to put quite as much spin on it coming out of that rough as they would from the fairway.
Well, I guess the best part after the last 2 holes is now they don't have to wait. 15 and 16 had to be agonizing with all the long waits.
You're right about that. Now Hyun has 122, probably playing more like 132 to 135. She hit some very impressive shots on the front side, really controlled her ball flight into this wind. That looks like a little bit of a jumper.
Good break, though. Jumper, but she's on that back fringe. She'll be putting for birdie, but that bunker was kind of looming large behind the green.
It was.
In real good shape out of that rough, though, with a 1-shot lead.
And Joel, as you said, Marissa has birdied this hole every day. Kind of fun when you're playing head-to-head like this, Alice.
It sure is. She's going to be a great player. Marissa has 106 left to the hole. And I think what you said earlier, you know, we're looking at some of the future of the LPGA right here in this group. Not that there aren't a lot more, but we're seeing 3 pretty good ones right here.
Marissa Baena, I mentioned 23. She hasn't turned 23 yet. She's only 22, just like Kim. Moody is 26. So often the swings look the same. Now we find out down the stretch what they're really made up of.
And possibly just a little wedge for Marissa because of the wind.
How about in? Exceptional play by Baena. And acknowledging the crowd like she's been out here for 20 years.
I'll tell you, Joel, she has personality and she has the golf game. Just a matter of just being here a few times. And as we said, she's only played in 12 LPGA events this year. Now Janice Moody.
And Janice just has 94 yards to the hole. Wind really gusting right now.
Super play as well from a young lady who could have certainly lost her composure after the 2-stroke penalty was assessed a couple of holes after she had that incident at 13 of the fairway bunkers. So give a lot of credit to Janice Moody in her second year on the LPGA Tour.
Joel, I talked about Marissa Baena having such a good golf swing, fundamentally so correct, but she has strong hands. But the beauty in her setup, she has very long arms for her body structure. She's about 5'4", so it gives her a big, huge arc. Now you're just going to see a little wedge swing, but watch the turn in her shoulder. Wonderful turn in the backswing. The club comes down, accelerates through, and look at the nice balanced finish. But long arms, great turn, and potentially a great career ahead of her.
She has a rhythm to her walk, a rhythm to her game, and a certain style that leads you to believe she is going to be a winner a long time out here.
And her sister that's at the University of Arizona, they play a lot of golf together. She's caddied for her in the U.S. Open. In fact, Marissa had her bag when her sister qualified for the U.S. Open this year. So a lot of golf in the family. Both parents back in Columbia are doctors. Very bright students also at the University of Arizona. And she is now really becoming a student of the game, I think. You know, when you're the #1 player in collegiate golf, you're on top. Then you have to start all over. And I think she's now learning what it takes for her to play well and how to participate on the LPGA Tour.
She is wearing that brace on her elbow because that's the left shoulder that she's had problems with. She was out for 5 months. She said that brace puts pressure on the elbow and it relieves some of the pain from the shoulder.
Now, Kim, this is huge. Should she make this one, the ball game is over.
She has about 18 feet, Mary, and kind of a tricky putt. She's right on a little bit of a ridge. Almost looks like a double breaker to me. Could start a little bit right to left and then maybe die at the very end back to the right.
I noticed a lot of Korean press flew in last night. They were in the media center this morning. And this is pretty much downhill this direction as the water is that way.
And this one, again, because it is downhill, this is going to have a little bit of speed to it.
Come on, baby.
So the tap-in par for Hyun Kim. That'll keep her at -12.
And I think she was pretty well aware that that was a real fast putt that she had to be a little careful with.
Well, the door now opens for Marissa to knock her putt in and only be 1 shot behind going to 18.
Janice Moody is away. Pearl Sin hasn't gone anywhere, though. Pearl Sin currently in the clubhouse at 11 under par. Wondering whether or not she should stick around. This was just a minute ago. And she's not going anywhere after watching that miss by Kim.
Now Janice Moody.
This from about 16 feet will break from her right to left. Pretty much a flat putt.
And Alice, she tends, as we talk about how things work through everyone's golf game, as she tends to cut the ball a little bit on her full swing, she tends to cut her putter just slightly. And when she starts doing that a little more than normal is when she misses her putts. She gets it going through a little more on a line or square, she makes them.
This would really be great for her to come back and make this one.
You said it. Great roll. Just never had it on the high side enough.
But the drama builds. Marissa, who has birdied this hole every day, can birdie it now. They go to 18 with 1 shot difference in a tough hole location. How does the putt look, Alice?
It's a little bit of a slider, Mary. It's going to go from her left to right down to the low point of the green, which is down by the water. I don't know. I have a feeling, though, she's going to make it.
She wastes very little time once she gets over it. Super aggressive all day long. This to move within 1 of the lead. It's going to be very hard to convince people she is only a rookie on the LPGA Tour. Marissa Baena within 1 now of Hyun Kim. A little more than a foot left for Janice Moody.
Now, Janice Moody, who started the day at 12 under par, now at 9 under, and just a reminder, 2-shot penalty back at the 13th.
Otherwise, Mary, she's a shot off the lead. So the winning ways of Marissa Baena that we saw at the University of Arizona as a 3-time All-American continue now on the LPGA Tour. And she goes to the 54th tee. Only one shot off the lead, looking for her first career title. So she's moved into a tie for second place with Pearl Sin at 11 under par.
And Joel, she's not the type of player that's going to back off. She will be aggressive. She gets the ball in the fairway. That iron shot will be going right at the hole.
Oh, this is a great story. Let's face it, for the LPGA Tour as well, the PGA Tour with Sergio Garcia and some of the other young players, international players that have been over on the PGA Tour. It's great to see developments like this on the LPGA Tour.
And look at this threesome. Talk about international. Janice Moody from Scotland, Kim from Korea, and Baena from Colombia. So first to hit will be Marissa Baena. And you're going to get a good look at her. Now, good look at her golf swing again. If you remember the wedge swing you just saw, you're going to see the same swing here. It's going to look identical. It's just going to look bigger because the club is longer. But watch how she creates club head speed through the ball.
This is actually a perfect shot for her. That wind is coming from the left, Mary, so, and she works the ball from right to left, so it should hold it up and be perfect.
Very emotional time for Janice Moody. Yep. Well, she went down to get the tee in a big hurry. That told you everything. Well, now we have been told, believe it or not, they have reversed the penalty. We just understand this news coming in that Janice Moody is back at 11 under par. So tears of relief for Janice Moody that she is back in the hunt.
But Joel, as we just heard Kim's tee shot, what's happened here is she might have played 16 and 15 and 14 totally different,
right.
Particularly 16 where she made a bogey. So the mental side of it, I mean, you know, who knows what might have happened. So really unfortunate set of circumstances for Janice Moody. I'm sure it's a relief, but now she can birdie this hole and be right there. So Angus McKenzie, LPGA official, just told her it was reversed, and Moody moves back to 11.
Kim off the tee in good shape as well. The leader by 1 over Moody and Baena, as well as Pearl Sin.
My guess, after hearing those news, she just pounded a drive out there. And she did. Perfect location, right side of the fairway to hit to that left hole location.
Well, the word is the LPGA conferred with other rules officials and then rescinded the 2-stroke penalty.
And who they refer to is the USGA.
Right.
They are the gods of golf.
So after a call to the USGA, tears of relief, but as you said, a different mindset if she didn't have that penalty. Unless we go to a playoff, which would involve Pearl Sin at 11 under par, you would think, if Kim did take a bogey. Although there is the potential, of course, for birdies from Baena and Moody to go to 12 under and join her there. We will have a first-time winner at the State Farm Rail Classic for the 3rd consecutive year. And looking back on that ball off the tee at 18, our leader, Hyun Kim, in pretty good shape, Mary.
As I said, it's an uphill tee shot, wide fairway, one that you'd like to have anytime you have a chance to win the tournament. The big tree's right. You have to push it right pretty far, bunker left, but she's in great shape. You know, Joel, as we reflect back on these circumstances for Janice Moody, I mean, your heart kind of goes out to her because, as I said, your mindset's totally different. Such a relief for her on the 18th tee when she was told, but it makes me wonder how she might have played the holes behind that she's already played differently had she been only 1 shot behind.
It's a back left pin position, as you can see, and the wind is really gusting right now, Alice.
It is. It's coming behind them and from the left, which makes it that much more difficult because then they really have to flirt with that front bunker. Probably about 121 to carry that bunker, and that's, you know, somewhere around there has got to be the yardage that they're looking at.
This is a serious gut check for three looking for their first ever championships. They like it.
And Joel,
I think
you said gut check. Well, that just tells you what Kim is made of.
I think Hyun Kim just passed the test. Rookie of the Year on the LPGA Tour, hitting it stiff within about 5-6 feet of the pin.
But it's not over. She can miss that putt. The other two can make birdie. But what a wonderful shot under the circumstances. Now, Janice Moody. And you kind of root for Janice right now to knock it close after what she's gone through this back nine.
You definitely do, Mary. Just from about a half a yard inside of where Hyun was.
Right.
She's been on such an emotional roller coaster ever since the 13th. What an incredible test for Janice Moody. Maintaining her composure, not inside Kim, but pretty darn close.
Well, I look for this one to be close, Alice, from Baena.
And this one from just 119, Mary. Another huge drive. And that's got to get up.
And it didn't make that top shelf.
Looks like she caught it just a little fat, I think.
So Marissa Baena, the only one who didn't get it close out of the threesome, trailing Kim by a shot. Janice Moody, though, only about 10 to 12 feet away. Kim 5 to 6 feet. And the walk up with great crowds once again in Springfield. Let's listen.
The final group of the 1999 State Farm Rail Classic, please receive from Glasgow, Scotland, Janice Moody. From Colombia, Marissa Baena. And from Seoul, Korea, Hyun Kim.
A pair of 22-year-olds, and Janice Moody, the old-timer, in there at 26 in her second year on tour, the former All-American at San Jose State University. And Kim coming in with an incredible play. 120 yards out. Baena's going to be away with a long roll. Safe to say she's not going to leave it short after what we saw on the green at 16.
I wouldn't think so, but she's down on the lower level of the green. This is not an easy putt. She has to come up the first level, Alice, and then it kind of flattens out and actually gains speed, doesn't it?
This is going to be an adventure. This is 55 feet, and it's probably going to break 3 feet at least from left to right. She's got to kind of get it up on that ridge that comes off the bunker and then let it slide down to the right.
Earlier, Mary, you were talking about the drama that she gave us all at the NCAA championships a few years back.
Well, I remember she knocked the 7-iron in the hole. Now, here's the ridge that goes across the green, and then as it comes up, it's going to work in this direction. And one of the beauties of this golf course, tee to green, it's not necessarily hard, but you have to be in the right places. But the greens, you have to be on the right level of the greens, and Marissa is not on the correct level, really, to have a good opportunity for birdie. But stranger things have happened in golf, so don't count her out.
I'm sure she'd be very happy to two-putt at this point, but you're right. Anything can happen.
We have run over our allotted time, but with good reason. Phenomenal finish once again to the State Farm Rail Classic.
And Joel, every year it seems to come down to the 18th hole, and that's the mark of not only great play by the LPGA players, but really a good golf course. This for birdie to move to 12 under and tie for the lead.
solid.
Well, as I said, there was no way in the world she was going to be short.
Only thing that happens now, Joel, is you talk about dollars and cents. Should you three-putt the last hole, it's just a little bit of difference in amount of money that you're going to take home from Springfield, Illinois, and courtesy of State Farm. And we really welcome State Farm's involvement in the LPGA. They're such a big supporter of women's sports, ice skating, volleyball, basketball. They do it all. And look at the flags right back there. And there, whoop, this was the Scottish flag we just passed. There it is again, right there, the Scottish flag. Blowing pretty strong right now. This putt would tie for the lead.
And a huge putt, Mary. 12 feet, just slightly left to right. And I think if we've ever seen a deserving player of making a putt, that would be Janice Moody right now.
Amen to that, Alice, as we look at the Scottish flag and see if it'll blow her away and she can knock this in for her birdie to move to 12 under.
It looked like it was going to be coming down. It never moved off the edge, though.
It almost looked like it moved the wrong way, Joel.
Incredible. So how would you like to have to just two-putt from about 5-6 feet for your first career title?
I'd like that.
That's the challenge facing Hyun Kim. And what a day for Janice Moody. Tie for second, along with Pearl Sin at 11 under par. Baena trying to make it a three-way tie for second at 11 under par. Second place money, $72,000. Alice Richmond said it almost was like a double cross. Went the other way. And it did look like it was ready to go into the hole and moved outside the edge.
We'll see if Marissa learned anything from that putt. For par.
That singed the edge.
She's looking at Janice. She can't believe it either.
Third place check. A little over $52,000. But players that are the future of the tour, we were watching all weekend. Moody, Baena, and certainly the rookie of the year, Hyun Kim. 2 putts at $116,250 at her first career championship. But let's see if she does it with dramatic style.
And what
a birdie
way
on the 54th hole.
And Joel, what a way to head home to Korea tonight. With your first LPGA victory. I guarantee you they'll be at the airport to meet her.
For birdie. She can't believe it either. Regardless, Hyun Kim is the champion of the 1999 State Farm Rail Classic. Three years in a row, it's been a first-time champion here in Springfield, Illinois. And Mary, that just caps off an incredibly consistent rookie year.
And that sort of puts the exclamation mark on everything. And you see how calm she is. Sandy Wheeler, 20 years, the tournament director, gives a hug to the champion.
Okay. Watch it, guys. Clear the cable.
She will not need a plane to get back to Seoul, South Korea tomorrow. She's headed back for the week. She said she's already planned her meals. She can't wait to eat food back home. Oh, is it going to taste even sweeter now with her first career title?
Me? I'm ESPN.
ESPN's final round coverage of the State Farm Rail Classic has been proudly presented by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. So once again, the State Farm Rail Classic has given us all something to talk about for years to come. Sydney Courier 3 years ago, don't forget, after being out here for better than a decade, finally got into the winner's circle right here in Springfield. Last year, the same could be said for Pearl Sin, not out as long as Big Courier. And Mihyun Kim winning by a shot over Sin and Moody and Baena with so many great moments for all of us on the back nine today. For Mary Bryan and Alice Ritzman, I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for being with us all Labor Day weekend for the 24th edition of the State Farm Rail Classic. Congratulations once again to Mihyun Kim. Like Saeri Park, another Korean, the Rookie of the Year on the LPGA Tour. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. And auto racing fans, stick around. That is coming up next for all of you. So long, everybody, from the state capital of Springfield, Illinois.